Hi, I'm Lisa Smith, the recreation therapist at Points West Living Stellar. The recreation therapists in Connecting Care have been asked to do 2 presentations at this year's conference. And so I just want to give recognition to all of the RTs that have helped prepare and plan for these presentations. We have Delray in Red Deer, Carly in Minster, Haley in Wetaskiwin, Bobby Joe in Slave Lake, and Anoop in Redwater. So today I get to talk to you about simple pleasures. What we mean by simple pleasures are those little things or little tasks that we do throughout our day that bring us joy. Let me give you an example. So in the fall and winter, at the end of a day, when all my kids have gone to bed and my house is nice and quiet, I really like to sit on my nice comfy couch and I like to have a hot cup of herbal tea and just sit and daydream. I let my mind wander, I think about whatever I want to, and I find that that helps me feel rejuvenated and it brings me joy. Now, simple pleasures apply not just to us, but also to our residents. So when we get to know our residents and we discover what the little things in their life that bring them joy are, we can help find ways to make those happen throughout their day. And when we do, that brings happiness and joy into their life. For example, in Red Deer, Delray shared how they have a resident, and when she was a little girl, her grandpa would take her to go get ice cream every week. And when her grandpa died, nobody else did that for her. Well, they discovered this little story as they got to know her, and they've discovered that whenever they mention ice cream, this resident's eyes light up and she gets really excited. And so they try to utilize ice cream in as much programming with her and as many opportunities as they can, because they can see that it brings her pure joy and happiness when they do that for her. In order for us to effectively be able to identify and see those little routines and those simple pleasures in our residents' lives, it really helps if we become familiar with the simple pleasures that exist in our life. And so Carly shared an example of when she got this topic. She decided to do a little experiment, and for a week she just paid attention to all of the things that she did throughout her day, and she discovered that every morning and evening when she turned on her fall pumpkin lights, it brought her joy. And she hadn't really thought of that little action being a simple pleasure, but after going throughout her days intentionally, she discovered that that really was something that she enjoyed and that was an uplifting part of her day. And so when we take time to reflect on our own lives, on our own routines, on our own actions, and we see how those simple pleasures impact our life and bring joy into our life, we are more likely to seek out that information and to provide those opportunities for our residents, because we know how happy they make us and we want to provide that happiness for our residents. And so when we look at getting to know our residents, there's kind of 2 main ways that I feel like we get to know our residents. And first is when they first come into our communities, we do an interest survey with them. And so we find out some of the things that they enjoyed doing in their past, and maybe some of the things they like doing now, and some things that they might want to try in the future. This is kind of a snapshot of the things that they view as their interests and their hobbies. Now, in addition to this, once we've had a chance to get to know our residents through visiting, coming to recreation programming, HCAs, working with and serving with them, that's where the real magic happens, because that's where conversations and just little actions that we do, we start to see what really is meaningful to our residents. Now, when we gather this information and we're identifying their simple pleasures, it's really important that we share that information with all the care partners that work with that resident. So the information can be shared in their documentation. It's very helpful to add it to their care plan so that simple pleasures can be added into their routine. For example, if somebody has a bath temperature that they really love, if we make a note in their care plan for that, it does personalize their care plan and make sure that they have that one specific thing that they really enjoy. And so really the first step with our residents is identifying what their simple pleasures are, those things that bring them joy. And then Second is the recording, which I talked about, putting it in the care plan, recording it in documentation. And then the third part is to implement the information that we find. And so finding ways to provide those opportunities of simple pleasures in our residents' lives is really important. So making it part of their routine or striving to have the tools to make those opportunities happen in their life. So for example, I do have a resident. As I've gotten to know her, I discovered that she used to love doing paint by number. Just loved it. And so I said, oh, is that something that you would like to do here? And she said, oh, no. The numbers are too small. I can't do it anymore. So the next time I went to go visit, I did actually take some painting supplies with me. And so I had pictures and I had paints and I had everything that she needed to do some painting. It wasn't exactly paint by number, but she loved it. We painted for a half hour together. She finished her picture. And at the end of it, she said, wow, that was really fun. Thank you. And we posted her picture in her room. And then it was kind of fun the next time that I went to go see her. I had brought a game because that's what she requested. But by the end of the game, she had said, so you were asking me what kind of pictures I like, and I really like landscapes and I really like birds. And so she had already been thinking about that painting and looking forward to it again. And so I look forward to doing some more of that with her. In Red Deer, they do something called Taste of Home. So what they like to do is they like to find family recipes that residents have. So those really special recipes that they would do in their family that were meaningful to them and that bring back memories. And so they get those recipes and they actually incorporate them into their community menu. And so it's a way for the residents to have part in making the menu and then also enjoying those foods that they grew up with, which is really meaningful to them. HCAs are really powerful at providing neat opportunities for residents to do things and tasks that bring meaning to their life. So I walked onto a memory care cottage and two lady residents were folding laundry. And I was coming out to the cottage to do a music program. So I waited until they were done and I could see that they were quite happy. And I should tell you about the two residents first. So one of the ladies, she actually is quite anxious. She's frequently asking to go home. She doesn't like large groups typically, and so she doesn't really like to participate in our recreation programming. The second lady, she actually is a little bit on the grumpy side. So usually when I'm bringing her to a program, she'll say something like, I don't understand the point of this. Okay, so these two ladies were folding laundry together and really looked like they were enjoying themselves. So when they were done, I went up to them and I did say, hey, I'm doing a music program in the living room. Would you like to join me? And the lady who's usually anxious and doesn't like to come, she said, yeah, that sounds good. And the other lady who's usually grumpy, she was like, all right. And they both came happily and they sat together on a couch and they had a lovely time. And it was really powerful to see how them having an opportunity to do a task that was meaningful to them and brought joy to their life translated into them being willing and wanting to come participate in a group program. So when we do incorporate simple pleasures into our residents' lives, we are providing an opportunity for them to be in a better mood and to want to participate more and to really lift their energy and how they're feeling. And that's very powerful that we can do. We also have a resident who is, he's pretty gruff. And again, he doesn't really enjoy coming to programs, partially because he can't hear very well, so he really struggles with that. But pre-COVID, when we would have our day home kids come into Points West, it was really fun, the transformation that he would go through, because when he saw the kids arrive in the living room, he would go off to his room and he would get his tin of mini chocolate bars and he would come and he would hand them out to the children. And, you know, this kind of gruff old guy, he became like a teddy bear grandpa when he brought out his tin of chocolates, and he loves to hand them out to the children. And so I really look forward to when we can start having kids in the building, because I know that we have residents who, when they spend time with children, it really does lift their mood and it is a simple pleasure for them. We have another resident and she actually plays the guitar. And so she is on the memory care cottage, and so she does face a little bit of anxiety with being in front of the whole group with her guitar, but we have identified 2 or 3 songs that she plays really well and is willing to play while the group sings. And so when she comes to our music programs, we invite her to bring her guitar and to play music while we're gathering residents. And then we have her play the first song, which is always You Are My Sunshine, and she sings along, and we do the 3 verses. And then we'll do a couple other songs, and then we'll come back to her and we'll do another song that she knows. And this provides an opportunity for her to play her guitar, which she had an opportunity to do professionally, but decided to choose her family. So it's a neat opportunity for her to play and to share her talents with all of us and to support her in that. Another tool that we have at Points West and Stettler is we have these, they're called Google Hub Max, and they are screens that you talk to. And so you say, okay, Google, play me a song. So you talk to it to activate it, and it taps into YouTube videos. And so we had a few of these donated by Best Buy, and so we were able to try them in a few of the cottages. I didn't think they would get used very much, but they have been a very powerful tool for the HCAs to use when they have residents who are a little antsy, not content, maybe a little bored. So they bring them over to this Google Hub, and they know the resident, and so they'll know kind of what to pull up. So with one resident, they pull up videos of cute kittens, and the resident loves it, and she'll watch it and she'll be engaged in it and enjoy that. Another resident really loves listening to country music, and so they'll pull up country hits from the 1950s, and it will play a whole bunch of songs and Johnny Cash and whatnot. And so we have found, because it's been so successful in the cottages that we had them on, we actually purchased additional ones so that every cottage could have their own. And that's because you can't predict when a resident is going to need a little extra care or a little extra something to engage in to improve their mood. And these have been a very powerful way to do that. And it's a way that the HCAs can consistently and easily incorporate simple pleasures into the residents' lives. I am sure any one of you could give many examples of times that you have provided simple pleasures in residents' lives and seen their eyes light up and seen them become happier. And that's really a main part of our job, all of us, not just recreation, but also administrators and HCAs and all the care partners. As we spend time with our residents and just little moments where we talk to them or we provide little routines or tasks for them to do, it really does bring joy and light up the lives of our residents. And I know as recreation therapists, that's really a huge focus of our work. And what we do is really getting to know residents and finding out those little tiny things that bring them joy and trying to provide those in their lives. And as we all work together, I know that we can bring that joy and that light into our communities, and that our residents will be happy that they get to live at Points West Living and the other communities within Connecting Care.